So recently I've had a follower DM me asking me if I wanted to play on his account. He's in gold elo and just analyze the gameplay and break down what they're doing wrong and how they can fix it. So this is what I'll be doing in today's video. Last video that I did like this, I just did a Q&A and I answered some questions, but I felt like this would be a more informative video. So before the video starts, make sure that you like, sub, and comment. It's much appreciated. Let's get right into this video. So starting out, my first game in gold elo, by the way, I was gold 3. First thing I noticed is some players know default strats, but they're not doing it properly. As you can tell, see this shield right here and the ADS? The shield needs to be farther back so the ADS can actually catch it, and you can put the ADS on the left side of the wall. Another thing I realized is golds don't reinforce. For what reason? I don't know. As you can tell, single wall is not reinforced, part of E-box isn't reinforced. Just, it takes a lot of time for players to set up, or they just don't set up at all. Another thing I noticed from these players is their drone economy is very awful. Every round I saw like 3 or 4 drones just flooding into sight, and I'd shoot them and their drone economy would be destroyed just because of that. Another huge thing I noticed is players do not want to plant nor play together or play off each other. There was no refrag value. My first round I got a 1v4 clutch and the players just didn't react when I was shooting at them. It was very easy to take my ones, and in this type of situation, you need to play together and try to get a plant down instead of just all pushing it in different directions. As you can tell, for some reason, Zofia was on pillars. She allowed me to run into Freezer, kill Habana. Blackbeard was just sitting in blue barrels, and then Sledge was coming down main. As you can tell, everybody is just doing their own thing. Altogether, players in gold elo, it just seems like they are frag hungry because they think that that's going to win them games. That's probably why the playstyle is so meat, in my opinion, because players just worry about KD and they worry about kills more than anything. They're willing to bait their teammates compared to actually just trying to play off them and get a refrag. They just bait. There's been so many rounds that I've won just because players are not playing together in the 2 games that I played. 2 things that I highly noticed was operator selection was awful, and even if they did pick an operator, they didn't use their utility properly. For example, we had no rotates, and every round I would have to set up and reinforce literally all walls, or there would be 8 reinforcements still up. I don't know what's up with gold players and not reinforcing. It's like they want to win, but they don't want to win because they're not reinforcing basic walls. Another huge thing I was able to tell is like there's no impact holes, there's no rotations, and if there was rotations, it would be on the wrong side. For example, I would have a castle trying to spawn peek the first few seconds of the round. Even if he got a frag, he's not doing his job altogether, which meaning he's not making rotations, he's not putting down his castle barricades, he's just picking an operator for their weapon, and like that's cool, you know, like you get a frag or 2, but as you get into higher elo, you're just going to play very bad, and you're not going to be able to compete with the enemy team because they're going to be playing together based on players that run castle for some reason and just roam, don't do stuff, don't do what they're supposed to, etc. Players would also either all stack up in sight or all roam. I had a run on Oregon where Rook, Ella, Mirror, and Velk, they all did their own thing and they roamed. It was very odd. For example, I had my Valkyrie in small tower with a shield, for some reason not using a C4, and I had Mirror just running around with the shakiest aim. So moving on to my next point was actually sensitivity. It seems like players didn't know their sense. Anytime I'd watch them get into a gunfight, it's like they were just shooting way too much and not being able to control the recoil at all. There was times where I'd get into a gunfight with somebody and they would dump their whole mag trying to pre-fire me, and I would actually catch them lacking and kill them because they're reloading. Another huge thing that worries me about gold players is their mirror strats and just setups. For example, like they would run idiotic strats but not play off each other. That's a big issue. If you're running into a team that knows how to counter basic strats, then you're not going to play well, especially because you're not playing off of each other. That's what mostly these kids did. I'm telling you, 90% of the gunfights I was getting into, it was them baiting each other, and it just made my life easier. Because my first game I 4-0'd, and then the second game I went like 9 rounds, dropping 20 kills. What I noticed when I was on my team is when my teammates would give each other callouts, they wouldn't believe in each other's callouts, if that makes sense. For example, I'm going to show it a round where Zero, he is in a 1d2x situation. He kills Mute, and he goes outside, and he's kind of like shaking. He kind of doesn't know what to do. He's trying to deploy his cams because one of our teammates supposed to do that. And at one point, my teammate actually gives him a callout that one's in A and he's behind like the island. So what he does is he jumps in 90, he wastes a grenade in 90, even though the teammate told him he was in A, and he wide swings just to die. Now, I think that a lot of gold players need to like have the understanding of trusting their teammates' callouts instead of just like doing their own thing. I understand that they're dead, but they're trying to give you callouts that's accurate. This guy gave him a very accurate callout, and he still, for some reason, just got the shakes, wasted a grenade, just jumped in and didn't face checks like the island, and he just stared at her, and she got the easiest frag onto him. Like, he was just shooting like dead bodies and just doing his own thing. So I think that's a key part of like what gold players need to actually be focusing on. Is probably just the team communication factor, because it seems like everybody just wants to do their own thing. Probably the biggest issue I noticed from gold players is actually what they're watching on defense. For example, there was a round where I got up in upper bridge as Amaru with a G8, and I got, I think, a 4K, or I even got an ace on them. And it's like they didn't have headsets, they didn't have ears. Legion didn't have no Legion mine on printer, and they just make my life a whole lot easier to get frags, because they were all just stacked up watching dead angles. If they would hear one sudden piece of noise, they would run at that noise, all of them. It's not like every player on the 5 stack had their own position. No, it's like one person would run at sound, and it's very easy to get opening picks from this, because, for example, I made a play where I was Amaru. I noticed that there was no utility in the back besides one Banshee, which was poor placed, and I just went around it and killed literally the whole team. In conclusion, if you watch this whole video was just about self-analyzing and just analyzing players in general. So there's just key points that I've made and tendencies that I noticed from gold players, and some of it you can probably relate to if you're in gold. Like, you must relate to it unless you're just stuck in gold for no reason. Now, if your excuses or opinion is that because you're in gold, it's because you always solo queue and you get silly geese that like the people that was on my team, then, you know, go out and search for players. For example, you can use my comments, for example, to find people to play with. Like, just drop your platform, your rank, your gamer tag, or you play, whatever, and just market yourself. That's your best bet, because I know that's where a lot of gold players get wrong. They never have people to play with, and don't get me wrong, I definitely know that you get stuck in silver to gold elo hell if you're solo queuing, because this game is about team communication, utility usage, and just playing off one another. So I think if you're a gold player and you self-analyzed and you felt like you can relate to some of the things I do say, or if you don't, I think that you should look back at your gameplay and really ask yourself, what am I doing wrong as a player, and try to improve. It's very simple, minor adjustments that will really change your rank. For example, if you notice that you're not using your drones properly, or you're not reinforcing or using proper utility, just analyze that and see how you improve from game to game. Also, if you notice that you're not using utility properly, there's a bunch of guides out there for operators. I really think you should check them out, because you should really understand the basics of this game, whether that's drone economy or just using drones in general, using utility, whether that's, you know, castle barricades, or, you know, making rotates, etc. But besides that, I hope that you enjoyed the video and that you learned something, because this video was a little difficult to make, to be honest, because I don't know how I wanted to actually approach this and make it all together. But if you have any video ideas that you want to see me approach in the future, make sure to drop it down in the comments. It's much appreciated. This was Garfield as Doc. I hope you have a lovely day. One love.